327 Federal Magnum. I'm going to do a ballistic test with some hand loads I made. And a lot of people really have been requesting to see stuff like this where, what can you do with hand loads? Now, 327 Federal Magnum is a cool cartridge. I know that the ammo is hard to find, but when it comes to reloading ammunition, the components are actually not any harder to find than anything else like 9mm and 38 special stuff like that, because they take small pistol primers. You can use regular ones or Magnum ones. They work fine. And the 32 caliber bullets like these XTPs I'm using here are not particularly hard to find. I was on Ammo Seek, and you pull up a whole page of these 100 grain XTPs. Now today I'm going to use Enforcer powder. Now this is going to be through an actual book, so I'm not doing these loads on my own. And this recipe and Ramshot Enforcer's load data book showed a Winchester small pistol primer, just like this, a standard one. It showed 12.6, I believe, through 13.5 grains, or 12.2 through 13.6 grains of Enforcer for a 327 Federal Magnum and a 100 grain XTP. And I actually have loaded 13 grains even in this. Now, I actually dissected a Gold Dot 100 grain before, and it had 14 grains of Enforcer. And I confirmed that by looking at Gold Dot or Spears load data, and it shows that they use Enforcer. So this is going to be a little bit less powder than a Gold Dot, but an XTP bullet generally gets pretty good velocity here. And here is the 327 Federal Magnum snub nose. I had a Patreon actually give me this gun a couple of years ago, and I'm still grateful for that. And this is actually my carry gun, and I trust this gun. And there's a lot of attributes to a 327 Federal Magnum snub nose I'm going to talk about. So I'm just going to share my opinion on the 327 as a carry round as I do this test, because I have my own opinions on that. So like always, I'm going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy I get at the same time with these hand loads. I'm going to do my 10% clear ballistic test. My standard one, I have 3 inches of clear ballistics, followed by a 1/4 inch MDF to represent hitting ribs or sternum, into more clear ballistics. This represents like ribs, sternum, bone, stuff like that. So I'll do a shot with this, I'll pull that out, I'll do a shot without it. And then I'm going to shoot, basic silhouette shooting, probably 25 yards, maybe 10. And just kind of see what kind of practical accuracy I can get with these hand loads. I also have some 32 Smith & Wesson longs I loaded up with standard powder. I might throw some of those at the target as well. So let's get started with this test. All right, I'm going to run some of these through the chronograph. There's really no point of reference, because the load data generally show a much longer barrel. Now, my point of reference, though, that I can have is the Spear Gold Dot 100 grain gives about 1,400 feet per second, or high 1,300s out of this gun. So let's see how close I get to that with these hand loads here. 13 grains of Enforcer. 1206. 1172, 1227, 1265, 1213. So we had one that was really high for some reason, but our energy is going to be low 9mm, 3.25 inch barrel, but out of a little 2-inch barrel. So it's got really controllable felt recoil, very easy to shoot, and that's one thing I really like about the 327. One thing I like is the versatility. A lot of people will talk about, well, the versatility of a 327 is, it's so great because you can shoot 327 Federal, 32 H&R Mag, 32 Smith & Wesson Long, 32 Smith & Wesson, 32 ACP. Not quite correct. 32 ACP really doesn't shoot very well out of this. 32 Smith & Wesson's a little bit out of spec, but those first three you can shoot. But 38 Special and 357, that's just as versatile. People will say, well, this 357 only shoots 357 and 38. Well, no, it shoots 357, 38, 38 plus P, 38 long Colt, 38 short Colt. But back on to what I was saying, the versatility of this is good because within a 327 Federal Magnum case, you can easily load it anywhere between the power range of about a 38 Special up to a 357 Magnum. It's a very efficient case for doing that. So let's hit our ballistic shell block anyways and see what we get with these rounds. All right, I'm going to do a couple of rounds through the MDF, and then I'll switch out and do a couple of rounds with no MDF. So first up, we have our ribs or sternum shot, and then we'll have our gut shot. So for MDF, here's shot 1. You throw one more through there. It's Let's go take a look. All right, so there's a lot of damage going on in there. Even though I don't really see any apparent expansion, it does look like that the petals did peel back, but no actual expansion. But what we're seeing here is actually pretty good, because our penetration on our first shot here is about 19.25 inches. Yet next one is about 18.5. That's exactly what I want to see. Clear ballistics is generally a little bit less dense than real ballistics gel, so it can be expected we might see a little more penetration, but that's with the MDF, so it might over penetrate a little bit, but I'm really not sure until we try it with our gut shot. So let's try it with no MDF, see how it does. All right, no MDF, just our gut shot. See how this will do. And one more. Now let's go take a look. All right, so yeah, we got a little bit of over penetration. Doesn't look bad though, but we see a lot of damage with this. Considering this bullet is backward and arc down like that, that's generally going to mean it's kind of tumbling, but look at that damage in there. That is a lot of damage. And with that particular round, we got to 22 inches even, a little bit over penetration. With our other round here, we're looking at about 20.75. So, you know, a little bit of erratic performance. That's just because we have a 100 grain bullet, and that's a very light bullet. So much like a 5.56 or something like that, you might start seeing a little bit of tumbling going on, but overall it looks like a solid performing round. I don't really see anything wrong with this round at all. It seems like a good performing round. So let's shoot from 25 yards to start with, to see what kind of practical accuracy and follow-up shots I can get with this, considering it is a quote-unquote Magnum. And let's just see what I get. All right, 25 yards from the target. Let's see how I can do it this round. All right, shooting a little bit to the left for me. I'm just going to pull out the last round here and take a look at it. I just want to check for, you know, bullet creep, anything like that, and I'm not seeing any indication of that. Primers are a little flat. That's to be expected because we're reaching, you know, close to 40,000 psi, and these are standard primers, not Magnum primers. But overall, everything looks pretty good. I think shoots pretty well for me. I missed that. All right, let me run a reload in this. See if I can get. So a very controllable round. Let me move up to 10 yards and just see what I can get for a little bit quicker shooting with this, because that's really going to be more of a practical test. All right, 10 yards from the target. My last rounds I fired were with brass casings, but if I was actually going to carry something like this, I'd be using nickel plated, because they're going to extract a little bit better, eject a little bit better. Extract. So let's see how I can do it from 10 yards with these. Case ejection is pretty good with those. Reloading with this particular reloader is not very easy. I'm much better with one of those ones I have for my 357. So, but I don't think you're really going to need more than 6 if you can place them accurately. So. All right, now for comparison, what I want to do, I have some 32 Smith & Wesson longs. I loaded these up with different powder. I used just regular universal powder. And it ran one through the chronograph, 769 feet per second. I'd say 95 grain, I believe. See how these shoot for me. I'm taken back by that recoil because you really don't have to control it the way you have to control it with the 327. You know, 327, you have to, you know, it's like shooting a 9mm or like shooting a low loaded 357 or a warm 38, where you got to control it a little bit to get it back on target. As where these, you don't have to put any control in it to get it back on target. The muzzle corrects itself pretty quickly. Very smoky. So what I think I want to do now is I want to go back. I have some more 327s, and I got some more of these. I'm just gonna, for fun, shoot from 75 yards. That's really why I do that, for fun. All right, let me go back to 75 yards. Have some fun with these. All right, 75 yards from the target. Those 32 longs had a lot of leading, so I'm gonna switch right back to my 327s before I get any buildup in the gun for the rest of my 327s, and then I'll shoot some more 32 longs. So 75 yards. See what I can get with 327 hand load, 100 grain XTPs. Yeah, I'm pulling a couple of those shots there. That's on me, but very flat shooting. And with a cartridge like this, it eliminates a lot of problems just by having its velocity and a light bullet. It eliminates the problem of bullet drop at distance, because they shoot very flat. And it also eliminates, you know, lack of expansion. Now, these XTPs didn't expand that well. That's just because they're tiny XTPs. But in general, you know, even with these light loads at well over 1,200 feet per second, that's enough velocity to expand pretty much anything, even though the energy wasn't substantially high. So, try some more here. All right, about the same as last time. This gun is getting real hot. Now 32 long on my lead ones. You know, stuff like this, moving so slow, a lot of times what you'll see at distance is you'll get a little recoil, the muzzle will rise before the bullet leaves. So it's shooting high, but then it drops before it hits the target. So it kind of self-corrects. So I'm just gonna aim right on it and see what I get. Oh, still hitting low. All right, let me aim high. Yeah, I can't even see them impact the dirt, so I have absolutely no idea where these are hitting. So let me slow it down just a little bit on these last rounds I'm gonna do here. I think I have about six or eight left here. 7. Try to focus here on where this might hit. Still can't see. Interesting. I have no clue where they're hitting, but you know, it kind of illustrates the lack of performance that 32 Smith & Wesson long had. 32 H&R Magnum boosted that up to about the energy of a standard pressure 38. Took care of some of those problems, but the 327 really is the solution to having a really good performing round with low recoil. It clears up, you know, the flat shooting issues, it clears up the expansion issues, and most importantly to a lot of people is you got 6 rounds instead of 5 in the same size gun as a normal 5 shooter. So When you can take 6 rounds that are, you know, a lot of rounds average about 350 foot-pounds, 1350 feet per second, something like that. And you can very easily put 6 rounds on target at those velocities, as where your alternative is a 38 special moving at maybe 800 feet per second, even with a plus P, and you have 5 chances, and the recoil is the same as that 327 or 357, where you have more energy, but you're probably going to miss your target. This is kind of the answer for that. It's the go-between, and it's a really good cartridge. And with what I can do with 327 Federal Magnum and what I know I can do with it, that's why it's my carry gun. Because yeah, I only have 6 rounds, but this isn't going to jam the way a little pocket 9mm might. This is going to reach out there if I have to. It's very accurate, very potent little round. So I think it's really one of the best rounds for carry, in my opinion. Ammo issues aren't obviously an issue for a lot of people, but if you do hand load, it's about as easy as anything else. So that's what you get today. 327 Federal Magnum ballistic test, hand loads. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.